So this is the second movie we are doing, current movie in theaters.
Yes, but let's be honest, this movie we are doing shamelessly because it's plastered all over social media.
Well, it's the movie we chose to do that's current and in theaters that's not in theaters because it's a Netflix theater in-house.
Right. So this week's movie is Bird Box. I'm Shay.
I'm Tyler.
And this is Cinematically Correct. So I originally heard of this as a book a few years ago because
really?
I'm in like this Facebook group
Before
about books.
Cool.
Before it was cool. And I'm in a Facebook group about books, and I had posted probably 2 years ago, I want to say, and asked if they knew of any horror books because at the time I had just read The Audition. First of all, that's a movie as well and a book. Both amazing, horrifying, but both amazing. And I was all about that horror book life at that time. And I asked, like, what, had anybody had any recommendations? And this was, like, the top recommendation. So I was like...
It's on your list of things.
Yeah, it's actually on my list in my phone of books that I need to read. But so when it came up on Netflix, I was watching it because I wanted to read the book first. But...
The internet has spoken.
Well, I felt like if I didn't read it, or I didn't watch the movie, that it would be spoiled. Because, it was... still is, not was. It's everywhere.
Everywhere.
The memes, everything.
The entire internet is about this movie right now.
Right. So, anyway, we should probably... you know what? We have bumpers, but apparently we didn't bring them with us. So those will be introduced in the next podcast because Tyler's making a face because he realized we have them. So, starting in the next podcast, we will finally have musical interludes, thankfully. So we will have that. But until then... we will have to just speak it out. But what is your brief synopsis for this movie?
The brief synopsis is Sandra Bullock plays a pregnant lady that survives the apocalypse, has a baby, has someone else's baby, and has to wear a blindfold. Otherwise, she dies.
That was the...
briefest of brief synopsises.
Yeah. Okay, so let's start.
I'm trying to avoid giving out spoilers because it is a new movie. Some people haven't seen it.
Okay.
Of the 3 people that have not seen this movie, I'm trying to avoid spoilers.
Okay, so we will do our best for this. Normally, we do spoilers up the wazoo.
Oh yeah.
We will try to limit the amount of spoilers, but I'll be honest, there really isn't anything to spoil.
No, it's fairly straightforward movie in terms of the monsters kill you if you look at them,
and you really don't find out more than what you find out at the beginning of the movie.
Right.
We won't say who dies and who lives or any of that stuff. We'll try to avoid that. But beyond that, I don't really feel like there's much we can spoil. So anyway, we'll start with the beginning of the movie.
Okay.
So Sandra Bullock is pregnant.
And painting.
I don't know why that's relevant, but...
It's just not relevant. It's just that's what she was doing at the beginning of the movie.
Okay. But they basically make it clear that she is no longer with the father of the baby and that she really feels no connection to this child.
Yeah, well, she's worried that the baby is going to not have a connection to her because she doesn't feel like she can connect with other people.
Right. And her sister is Sarah Paulson, which I love her from American Horror Story.
Her name is Sarah Paulson.
I was really hoping that didn't make it into the podcast, but yet here we are.
Oh, come on. It's a Fight Club reference.
Yes.
That's another movie that
we have not done.
But it's a movie reference, so it works.
But you didn't know who Sarah Paulson was.
I did not know who Sarah Paulson was, honestly.
And I learned after watching this movie that you have never seen American Horror Story.
Yes, I have not.
That is horrifying.
Pun intended?
Yes, it was definitely intended.
I have to be honest, I've never seen it. We're doing 2 Sarah Paulson movies in a row, as it happens.
Yes,
we'll get to that at the end of this movie.
Right. At the end of this podcast, not the movie. But anyway, so, first impression of Sandra Bullock's character was kind of standoffish, kind of...
very reserved, very introverted, introspective. So I find like she keeps her own company and she minds what she says. And
Right. Now, her sister was lovely. I loved her sister.
Yes.
So... one thing the internet is talking about a lot is Sandra Bullock and the way she looks because she is 54. And
looks good for 54.
She does. And people are saying, though, that, surgery and stuff is apparent. I could not see that, and I tried.
I don't know. Like, I did say that after you had mentioned that when we were watching the movie that I guess I could see it, but it's not offensive like some of the other plastic surgeries.
Renee Zellweger.
or other ones. Wow, you just threw someone under the bus.
I'm just saying, I mean, if we want to talk about bad plastic surgeries.
Her plastic surgeon threw her under the bus. You just aided and abetted
reaffirmed it,
the
yes.
homicide.
I had no choice in that. But anyway, so also the other thing that was bothering me is that some people that were posting about this movie were saying that woman from the Bird Box in reference to Sandra Bullock. Like,
who doesn't know who Sandra Bullock is?
I'm assuming, I don't know, when was the last time she was in a really popular movie? I would think that space one, what was the name of it? Or the Blind Side? I haven't seen it, but...
Speed?
Well, Speed was...
A while ago, but it's a classic movie.
Well, yeah, in our time, she was huge, but
Miss
how
Congeniality?
How huge was she after the 2000s?
But it's Sandra Bullock. Come on.
I agree, but it made me feel old.
The woman from the Bird. People need to go die in a hole for that.
We're going to alienate every last listener we've ever had.
Did someone on that listens to our podcast say that?
No.
So what are we worried about?
Well, because you never know. Maybe they feel that way.
Well, if you feel that way, then you should be ashamed.
Anyways, so they hear about some kind of weird phenomenon that's happening. In
Russia.
Romania.
Romania, then Russia, then it came through Alaska. I don't know. It was weird.
Right. So anyway, they hear about it. They were talking about it, and then they end up going to the hospital to have Sandra Bullock's baby looked at.
Oh, yeah. They go to the...
OB-GYN.
Yes.
And then when they're leaving, they realize that said illness has arrived wherever they are. Do we know where it was located?
We do not. I'm assuming the Pacific Northwest, if I had to guess. So Washington, Oregon.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Or maybe Alaska. Like it's that kind of area because it's very rugged and wooded and densely forested. And we don't really have that around here.
Okay. Fair.
So that's what I'm guessing. Is it an illness or is it a... What is it exactly? Because it's not something...
Well, we don't know.
It's not germs that kill you. It's something that you see.
Right. So there is a fan theory out there that because it originated in Romania and because it cannot enter people's homes...
It's vampires?
You got it. I was hoping that, follow through would work. So they're saying that it's another way to talk about vampires. Now, they don't actually drink blood, but they do cause a lot of bloodshed. So they were saying it was like a reimagining of vampires.
I mean, that seems like a bit of a stretch. I mean,
I liked it.
It's an interesting theory, but I would say that it's Charlie, one of the characters in the movie.
The guy that worked at the grocery store?
Yes. His theory on it makes more sense to me rather than vampires, where it's demons or some kind of horrible end of the world type scenario.
Okay, so basically give his theory, essentially.
So he was writing a book, and he was talking about it being the end of the world, and all of these different cultures have different words or names for these different demons that do horrible things and bring vengeance upon humanity for all the horrible things we've done. So that was his theory. And that seems to register a little bit more than vampires to me, personally, after watching this movie.
I mean, I agree. It definitely does. But then it begs the question, why do certain people not get affected? That,
to this day, still bothers the hell out of me. I wrote in my notes, what the fuck, why do some people survive?
Well, but if you follow the vampire logic, you would say that certain people turn vampire.
Or certain people are familiars.
Well, that too. So there is that connection there. Now, of course, there are people that say, well, not people that say, I said this during the movie, that maybe because the people are crazy, and I put that in air quotes because that's what Gary, the guy who was...
He said he escaped from like mental asylum patients that were trying to make him see the thing, and he turned out to...
Be unaffected is all I'm going to say about that. I'm not going to give spoilers, but he turned out to be unaffected, so we learned that there are people that are unaffected, and the question is why, and the movie doesn't answer it, so we're not making spoilers here.
I would argue not unaffected, but unsuicidal.
Okay, they do not have to kill themselves like everybody else in the movie does. So I'm not going to say, I don't want to spoil it and say what happens with this character, but the question remains, why was he not suicidal? And people are saying because he was already mental and already saw horrible things and fears and whatever, this did not push him over the edge where it would push others over the edge.
I mean, that's fair. I don't know why. I don't know why. And that aggravates the hell out of me. It just really got under my skin that I don't know why.
Well, and also, why were some able to push through to do that one last act, which I'm not going to say who did, but there were 2 people in the movie who were able to do one last act for the people that they care about before.
Well, I think it was that whole concept of true love and that deep emotional connection is what was tethering them to reality.
Okay, I mean, that kind of harkens to some zombie movies where they turn zombie, but they are able to, like, move themselves away from their loved ones and things like that.
Right. It's similar to that. Or there was a really great short where it's a dad that got bit by a zombie. Mm-hmm. It's a film. I think it was Australian. Where he has a baby in a backpack and he got bit by a zombie. So he's going to turn. And he goes about taking steps to prevent his baby from being eaten. So he puts it on the back so he can't see her. He puts some kind of like bait in front of himself. So when he's a zombie, he goes after the bait.
Oh, I've never seen this. I'm curious to see it though. We will make sure that we find some version of this video or some kind of a link to share in the Cinematically Correct's listener group. So Tyler's looking at me like he's horrified, but he is going to figure this out. We're going to share it because I would like to see it as well, and I'm sure you guys would. So anyway, let's move forward.
Okay.
I'll fill in a gap just really quickly. So I jumped a little bit, but basically after they find out... It's not me this time,
thank God.
A little bit. So after they find out that it's come here, her and her sister are trying to get out of town, and... I'm not going to say, I don't want to give spoilers, but essentially what ends up happening is Sandra Bullock ends up having to go to a house with a bunch of strangers who have not yet been affected by the virus and start
trying to survive.
Right. So, I mean, I think that's the best way I can do it without giving any spoilers.
Everyone kills himself. I think that, to me, was more jarring than like a zombie movie or something where people are being actively killed. Because that's one of those things where it's outside of your control. Right. And this is inside your control, supposedly, the act of killing yourself. Right. But it's not, which was kind of an interesting take on a horror movie.
Yes. Now, granted, I will say that The Happening had a very similar premise.
I've never seen it.
Okay. Adding to the list?
Sure.
I will say that I did research that just to know, and the rough draft of Bird Box was actually written prior to The Happening coming out, so...
Well, the book was also written before that as well, wasn't it?
I don't know that the book was... I don't know. I didn't look up the timeline on that. I just looked up which plot came up first, and apparently the Bird Box did first. So I don't think it was intended to be as close as it was, but I'll have you watch the movie, and then maybe we'll do another episode where you can kind of say how you feel.
Mean, that's... Interesting. I figured that was going to go on the list.
Yeah, it's on the list. So, anyway. But I had another thought, and then it poofed right out of my head. Oh, what I wanted to say is, so this movie does jump timelines, backwards and forwards.
Very much. So it fits our narrative style.
Yes, it does. But in the forward march, you see that Sandra Bullock has 2 children, a boy and a girl.
2 5-year-olds.
Yes. And... the 5-year-old girl is the best actress I have seen in a very long time, and I just
she killed it. She killed.
I needed to get that out there. Her facial expressions alone, girl, you had me tugging at my heartstrings. I was scared for you. I was upset for you. God. There were so many feelings.
There was that one scene where they're on a boat. I'm not gonna say more than that.
No, but the face she makes.
Oh God, it was just.
I felt tears coming to my eyes, and I don't cry during movies, and that was.
You wanted to just reach through the screen and
just hug her
and protect her and let her know everything's all right.
Right. So like I'm going to find out what her name is, the actress. I'm going to write it down and I'm going to follow her career because she is a star in the making. Like I am telling you, she is incredible. Very good.
Sandra Bullock also killed it too.
Well, I mean, we knew Sandra Bullock was incredible.
Fair.
A 5-year-old girl being incredible, that's something.
Well, if she's actually 5.
Well, she's young. She's very young.
She is a child actor. And those careers don't generally have the trajectory that you would hope for.
You're really going to get into that?
Well,
So when we were done watching the movie, he was so impressed by her that I guess he decided to look up child actors.
No, it was. I was researching the movie, and it was one of those clickbaity, "Where are they now?" things that I just accidentally clicked on. And I was like, well, I've already actually clicked on it because my thumb fat fingered the phone. And I just scrolled through it, and apparently heroin and opioids are a real problem with child actors.
And the fact that this is knowledge, like new knowledge to you, is shocking to me.
But no, it was something I knew. I'd never really thought about it. It's one of those things that you don't actually acknowledge. It's just something you just know, but you forget about.
Well, let's hope that doesn't happen to her now that we've equated her
to
this.
Oh, yeah, let's definitely. You would never wish it on anyone, ever.
Right. Okay, so anyways, so that they're in the house, they end up doing a grocery run. I would like to talk about that a little bit. So that doesn't give away any spoilers.
No. They do a supply run.
Right. And the way that they do it, because, I don't think we mentioned the reason that this thing makes you kill yourself is if you see it.
Right.
So they can't see, if they go out and see.
They cannot look
right.
where they are going if they're outside. They have to wear a blindfold or a covering.
Right. So they decide to drive in a car to the grocery store, and their rationale is they will use the GPS.
That's not how GPS works.
No. Now, granted, they had fancy GPS that told you when you were getting close to something.
Right, but at the same time, it's the apocalypse. There's going to be bodies in the road. There's going to be burned out cars. There's going to be all kinds of problems if you're trying to drive without seeing.
Right.
There are problems driving in the apocalypse when you can see.
Right. But somehow that works out for them, and they go on a supply run, and they get their supplies and all of that. That's when they first encounter somebody who is
a survivor.
Is a survivor, I guess is the way we're wording that. We don't really need to say much about that, but that's their first encounter. They do go back home, and we should probably talk about the people who stole the car.
Oh, the drug dealer and the cop?
Yeah, so the drug dealer, do you know who that is?
Yes, I do. Actually, I wrote it down. It's, his name is Machine Gun Kelly.
Yeah.
He's a rapper.
Yep.
And apparently he has a hardcore fight with Eminem going.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, I listened to one of his videos, and he's nonstop making fun of Eminem.
Is it because he's white with platinum blonde hair? I
think it's probably that. I think Eminem may have did something mean to him at some point, I guess.
Because he stole his aesthetic?
I don't know, Dara. I don't know. I just know he spent an entire video making fun of Eminem.
I mean, I don't feel... I don't know.
And I had to subject myself to that atrocity.
For this podcast?
For the podcast.
Well, so you guys should feel grateful. But what I was going to ask is, why is he in this movie? What value does his character add?
0 value. I'm sorry. Those two characters add 0 to the value, other than stealing the car.
And having sex in the house.
Well, yeah, the drug dealer and the cop having sex for no discernible purpose.
reason.
After she explicitly said, no, we're not having sex, and then bent over seductively and then had sex with him.
Subductively?
Seductively.
I'm sorry, alliterate. Anyway, so I just thought that was weird.
Enunciate, actually.
Oh yeah, enunciate. I don't know why I said alliterate, but anyway. Funny. But anyway, I just didn't know the purpose of that.
There was no purpose. 0 value added.
Okay, so at least we agree on that. So we could have done without that. But anyway, so I mean, the rest of the movie is really Sandra Bullock. I mean, she's the main character, so it's focusing on her trying to survive. It shows her trying to survive in 5 years ago and then in present day.
Right.
And basically what you learn is that they survive 5 years, obviously.
Yep.
And then 5 years after 5 years go by, she decides that she's going to go to this place that they heard about on a radio. But to do that, she has to go through what they call the rapids. And to go through the rapids, somebody has to look.
Well, it's not what they call rapids. It's actual whitewater rapids.
Well, right, but they kept saying the rapids. But anyway, so someone has to look. And that's like the big tense point of like, who's going to be the one to look? Because if they look, then they die. And yeah.
She took the river.
Uh-huh.
In the boat. Why didn't she hike that part?
I don't know. I can't answer. There's a lot of questions in this movie. Like, for example, Tom is his name, right?
Yes.
Sandra Bullock's love interest in this movie. After the 5 years, he is very bulky. Like, I mean, he looks great. How does that happen when you are obviously on limited rations?
Well, it's physical exertion still.
Yeah, but he doesn't have enough protein to continue up his I'm weightlifting over here lifestyle.
You're miming curls.
He looked amazing. How?
Well, I don't know, darling. Other than he was exercising with all the spare time that he has stuck in a house.
I couldn't understand that. I mean, good for him, but also that age gap is
well,
insane.
I mean, to be fair, what else are you going to do with your time if there's no electricity and you can't look at anything outside?
Yeah, it just feels like you wouldn't have enough food to get that bulky.
Push-ups, sit-ups, crunches, pull-ups.
Food.
Canned goods everywhere. Everyone else is dead.
Oh. Anyway, that was just a question that I had. But
also, are animals affected? Because birds are not affected.
Well, I wouldn't say birds aren't affected. They freak out.
But they don't die.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe are birds are those type of birds maybe blind?
No.
Okay, I don't know.
Birds need to see to fly.
No, I meant those type of particular birds. Like maybe there was, I don't know, something to do with their eyes.
No.
Maybe they only see in black and white. I don't know.
But I'm assuming that cows and horses and deer and other animals are alive.
Were there other animals in the movie?
There was no other animals. You would expect to see feral dogs and cats and things outside in the apocalypse.
Also, why is it called Bird Box?
Because they were birds in a box.
Okay, yeah, but that's not the point of the movie.
I don't know, darling. It's alliterative.
That's like calling the podcast Tyler in a chair. That's not the point of the podcast, but you're in a chair.
It's alliterative and creative. I don't know.
I guess. I don't know. Anyway, I'm trying to make.
I don't have an answer other than that's the name they chose.
Okie dokie. Anyway, so they make the trek. It's this big tense thing. You're trying to find out who's gonna look. I'm not gonna tell you who looks, but they do end up getting to their destination. And
spoilers, darling.
I'm not going to say what the destination is, but they get to a destination, and that's the ending of the movie. And, I mean, a lot of people on the internet are very unhappy with the movie, or with the ending. The ending of the movie is not the ending of the book.
The ending of the book is apparently much darker.
Yes. So, I mean, I guess you can say the ending of the book. That's not the ending of the movie.
The ending of the book, half the people in the world have intentionally blinded themselves.
Right.
Just to not have to be able to see.
Right.
So if you can't see, then you can't die, but then you also can't see.
Right. So it's pretty dark. Now, that is not how the movie ends, but the movie takes a more uplifting approach.
Thankfully.
Yes. So anyway, this movie was viewed by 45 million people on Netflix in its first week.
Yeah, it's been huge.
Do you have any idea why? Like, what could have caused... I mean, for one, I don't recognize the director at all. Did you recognize her?
I don't, but apparently she's...
Her name was Susan Bayer.
Yeah, she's apparently very well known. I think she won an Oscar.
Oh, okay. So I don't know her at all. So if you guys have recommendations for movies that she's done, we are not familiar with her.
Yeah.
But, so I don't know if maybe her name drew people in. I don't know if because it was a book that drew people in. I know the memes definitely helped.
The memes definitely helped. I think it's also the primal fear of not being able to see. Everyone can relate to that. Like the terrifying nature of having to go around with a blindfold. Like, have you ever tried walking, not seeing?
I don't think I have.
It's terrifying.
So is this going to be a Saturday thing that you're going to make me do?
Yeah. We did it at a date night box. We put a blindfold on and I directed you through a maze.
Oh yeah, that didn't go well.
Right.
For either one of us.
Right. It's terrifying.
Fair.
So that's just something that humans can innately understand. Right. I think it's that primal thing. It's the same thing for The Quiet Place, but for being deaf.
Okay. No, I understand that. That makes sense.
Which is it adds a level of tense or tension to the whole story. So that's why I think that's why it's blew up. honestly.
I mean, that makes sense. Stephen King tweeted about it. Did you read that?
I did not.
He said that he was riveted by the Bird Box and urged viewers to not believe the lukewarm reviewers. So, I mean,
it also had a star-studded cast. We're talking John Malkovich, Sandra Bullock.
Oh, John Malkovich. Did you read the
He was such a
creepy
dick.
trivia about him, though?
Like, his character's such a dick.
And an alcoholic.
Yes, an alcoholic dick.
Yeah, but I mean, he always plays a dick.
Not always.
What doesn't he play a dick in?
I'll come up with something. I can't come up with off the top of my head, but something.
Well, he plays it well.
Yes.
But you didn't read the creepy trivia about him?
Oh, where he can control the birds?
Yes, like in real life.
Yeah.
He tells them to move their feet, and they do? What? Are you the bird whisperer?
Can we teach that to Max?
No. Not a chance.
Yeah, I did read that. There was surprisingly not a lot of information on IMDb for this movie.
No, there wasn't.
It was very sparse. I have a couple pieces of just random trivia that I have.
I love random trivia. We don't have a Tyler's History Minute for this one, but I promise you for the post, there will be like a Tyler's History, probably the entire podcast. So be looking for that because I promise you it's going to be the whole thing.
Yeah. So did you know that Sandra Bullock speaks fluent German?
I did not know that. Whoa.
Well, she spent a lot of time there growing up.
You would love this because Germany is like your jam.
Well, it's interesting.
It is?
She spent half the movie blindfolded.
Makes sense.
So
blindfolded rowing, by the way, badass.
Yeah. I have a question though. The blindfold was in some scenes you're looking through the blindfold like you're the person with the blindfold on their face.
Yes.
And you're able to see a little bit.
Like you're able to see light.
Yes, you're able to see a little bit of thing. How is that helpful? Like, there's a scene where I can't not all the spoilers, but there's a video of the thing that still causes problems.
Well,
and
I think
it's not a direct
just seeing
connection.
Light is okay, but actually seeing the thing. So I'm assuming that like seeing the features of the thing is the problem. That was my guess.
Well, it's like, well, you put all the effort into a blindfold and then you can still see through the blindfold, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was really supposed to be like adding a little bit of some like texture because they didn't want to show just blackness. So I think, but I don't know.
Oh, I do have a Tyler's History Minute for this movie.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Tyler's History Minute.
Tyler's History Minute. So Machine Gun Kelly, the rapper, stole his name from the actual Machine Gun Kelly.
But who's the actual Machine Gun Kelly?
A gangster from the 1930s.
Oh, I only knew the rapper. Tell me more.
So he got his nickname. I think his name was George Kelly something.
Okay.
So his favorite weapon or weapon of choice was the Thompson submachine gun.
Jeez, he's really pulling out all the stops here.
He's most famous for kidnapping an oil tycoon and ransoming him for $200,000, which is something like $4 million today.
Where did you come across this?
Well, I looked up Machine Gun Kelly and I clicked on the actual namesake.
Oh.
And I read through the wiki page.
See, I typed in MGK rapper because I knew he was a rapper.
No.
But, that's fine.
So that's my history minute. So there is an actual Machine Gun Kelly gangster that he stole his name from.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So we will also try to post something about that in the group at some point this week so you guys can learn more about him. We are going to try to be better about having these segments at every episode and also following through with them on the group, but, we kind of stink at follow through, so.
You know where I recognize a couple people from?
Where?
Oh, so B.D. Wong is from Law and Order SVU, is where I know him from. He's actually in Jurassic Park, which I didn't even realize.
Oh, yeah.
He's one of the doctors in the
I recognize him.
Lil Ray Howery is from Get Out. He's the TSA friend.
I can't place that one, but I know who it was, but I can't place that and Get Out. But
he was the guy that was like, "Dude, you gotta get out of there."
Oh, he was the one telling him not to go to the house.
Yeah, he was the friend. He was the best friend, telling him, "Dude, that's a mistake."
Yeah.
Which favorite character from that movie? Unrelated movie, but still favorite. It's a kind of related horror movie.
It's a horror movie, yeah.
I don't have a whole lot else to add.
Okay,
Honestly.
so we're going to move into Audience Ask, which I'll be honest, there's not a ton, but let's get into that just so that we can wrap this up, considering we're already at 30 minutes and 14 seconds. So One Giant Leap for Geeks asked, why is Gary able to turn off the possession? He seems cool at first, even his eyes are normal. He waits for an opportune moment to go crazy. What gives?
So that I don't know. I don't have an explanation other than maybe he's a sane crazy person? Or he's more on the middle of the road rather than batshit crazy?
Makes sense.
Or maybe he's so far to the side.
I mean, so this isn't really a spoiler, but there are drawings that pop up,
Right.
and that makes him seem a little unhinged.
Well, right, maybe that's his outlet, so he draws them out so he doesn't have to act on every impulse.
Maybe. That could be. Okay, I like that. Okay, and then Dare Daniel Podcast says, what happened to MGK and Cop Lady? Does getting caught having sex make you just disappear? So, we know that they sold a car.
No, I'm hoping they died. We don't know what happens to them.
Right, and I just think that's such a plot hole. Like, they don't tell you anything. Like, it'd be one thing if they made, like, some noises after, or maybe one of them comes back horrified, or something. But they don't find the car anywhere.
They're
like,
going to run out of
nothing.
gas at some point.
But they can't see, so how far are they driving that car?
Well, right. They were lucky to make it to the gas station a mile down the road.
Right, so, I mean, that's very fair. Very fair. I don't know. So, I don't know. I'll say we have not talked about this person before. So this person says Trashy Divorces. I guess that's their podcast name. They said, ever since I watched it, my big personal debate has been, why did I watch it? It took Dumpling Love Simon and the series finale of Sense8 to scrub that out of my brain. So apparently a lot of people did not like this movie. And I think overhyping is probably the culprit of that.
I do feel it was a little bit overhyped. But it was still a good movie.
It was absolutely a good movie.
It was an enjoyable watch. I was very tense for the majority of this movie.
But I tend not to like movies that are overhyped.
Yeah.
So.
Although Sense8, great TV show.
I have not seen it.
Netflix original, I believe.
Really?
I enjoyed it thoroughly.
I
think they canceled it, but.
Well, I guess I'll check it out.
I don't have anything else to add. We're done.
I think.
Huh?
Oh, you're so excited that we're done?
We're on time.
We're on time. Yes, we are. So next week's movie is going to be The Post, which is your choice.
And I do have something else to add. You're jumping ahead without doing the ratings. So we can't move on to the next movie without actually giving a rating for the movie.
Wow, thank you for the lecture. So anyway, yeah, ratings for the movie. So I would have to give this a 9. I really liked it, and I liked the suspense behind it. I just want answers. That's the only reason they're not getting a 10.
I was driven out of my mind with the lack of answers. It was infuriating, and it drove me crazy.
Right, and I do appreciate movies that let you kind of like think and kind of run with it and whatever. But they're just
have your own theories, but there's something there. There's like a
lot. The thing, for example.
Right. So there's substance there that you can work with. This seems a little bit light on explanation.
Right. There's just too many ways you can go with this, and too many unknowns. Right. Like, give me something.
So for that, I had the same problem. I'm going to give it a 7.75.
Ooh, that really dropped.
I mean, that's right in line with Rotten Tomatoes, 66% and 69 audience score.
Surprising considering how viral it's been.
Well, I think it's viral because it's a polarizing movie. It also didn't. People are up in arms over how it portrays mental health in the world.
Okay, we can't keep going on more tangents.
I know.
We just can't do it. Okay, so anyway.
The Post.
So The Post is our next movie. That was your choice.
Yes.
Which, right up his alley. It's basically history, like, galore. So he's going to be in love. So that should be
It's also a star-studded cast. Isn't it Tom Hanks and Meryl Streep?
Yeah. And we have not seen it. Neither one
Sarah
of us.
Paulson.
Yes. So neither one of us have seen this. This is going to be Tyler pretty much talking the whole time because he's going to be so excited. But, yeah.
Because that's what the listeners want to have. Is just my voice. I'm fully aware that that's the opposite.
I had nothing I could say to that. I was taught to never say anything if you have nothing nice to say.
Nice.
So you're welcome. So anyway, next week is The Post. We will be on Facebook group, Cinematically Correct's listener group, on Saturday. doing
and Tuesday.
Some shout out Saturday for this. And yes, Tyler's Trivia Tuesday as well. So come check us out there. And I wanted to thank Jake at Athos Music for our intro and outro. And we will see you guys next week.